Hey guys, this is Thomas Durham, and this is why I sold Tesla stock. Today is September 21st, 2019, and Tesla has been doing quite well actually, or 2 months here, before the crash that happened in June 3rd when it hit 187. Now, Tesla itself is, I believe in the company, and I believe in their long-term vision. They could be a leader as an electric car company based on huge brand value, and they have a huge upside potential with their batteries. But what's concerning me more and why I really sold Tesla was because of the overall economic conditions, right? So this is not in Tesla specifically, it's about the overall market. And so I'm really concerned with the market right now because we're having a lot of experts tell us that, hey, there's a recession coming. And so what happens usually when a recession is coming, first it is the experts who tell the public, or they will be the first ones to know, right? So you'll see moderate sell-offs because it's at the top level experts, they are starting to sell off their shares, right? As we move further into the recession and the experts have identified that there is a recession coming, more and more of the general public start to realize. And what happens is more and more sell-offs. So in my opinion, we're at the beginning stage of a recession. This is all my opinion, so don't take this to heart. It may or may not become true. But based on the things that I'm observing with the market, this is how I feel. So yeah, we've had a little sell-off, I believe, from the experts, and they're telling us right now a recession is coming. So I can easily see within 6 months, we're going to start to see more and more people sell off as the mainstream public gets more aware of the recession that is looming. Let's break that down a little bit more. So if we're looking at the NASDAQ index or the S&P or the Dow, over the last year, the performance has been quite lackluster. For example here, September 25th, 2018, the NASDAQ was at 8,000 points roughly. And by the time it hit December, it had crashed all the way down to 6,500 points. And then it quickly recovered, which I think most of us should know about these details. But overall, it's been quite stagnant. Even in looking at the 2 years, we do see some growth of the NASDAQ in 2017. But really, it's not looking very strong. So next, if we look at the 10-year view of the NASDAQ or the S&P, or the Dow Jones, we're seeing tremendous growth in the 10 years. We're also seeing huge highs if we're looking at our all-time. Just massive, massive highs. The market has soared, over the last 10 years. It's really, really incredible. So this is where you need to start getting wary, because if the market is very high, it means there's little upside, right? Because the market is already so high, there's not much growth. It's reaching new highs, right? So anytime you're reaching a new high, there's a lot more risk associated with it. So let's consider that as well. So this all comes back to Tesla and the entire market. Just based on this little information alone, we can already see there's some concerns. Now we can go into what Trump is doing and the Federal Reserve. So right now, the Federal Reserve and Trump are trying to keep the economy afloat because he wants to be reelected, of course. And naturally, you want to try, as a leader, to reduce the chance of a recession happening, or a lot of the time, these leaders will push it off. And this is where it gets really worrying. So how they're trying to push off the recession is by lowering the interest rate. So I think it was last week they had actually lowered the interest rate, and they plan to lower it even further. Now also we're seeing low economic growth, or even a downward trend in economic growth globally. For example, Germany is having a hard time with their economic growth. And why that's an issue is because they're a huge auto manufacturer. So this could have global impact on the manufacturing industry for cars. Next, we also have trade wars with China, which Trump is not going to give up. He is not going to give up this, even if he goes into a recession. He wants China to honor America's intellectual property. which they've been taking advantage of for the last 30 plus years and stealing all their intellectual property. So he's not going to give up on this, because over the long term, this will help America, but in the short term, this could cause more recession-like problems for us, right? As investors. We recently saw a yield curve inversion, which over the last 50 years has been telling of a recession. So I'm not kidding. Over the last 50 years, this has happened before a recession. So it happened in 2007, and now it's happening in 2019, where you have a yield curve inversion. This is another sign, again, that we're going into a recession. Now let's get deeper into Tesla. So like I said, Tesla, I believe in their long-term vision, and I believe they will succeed long-term. I don't know whether that's going to be as a car manufacturer or a battery producer, because we'll have very high value car brands. So for example, there could be a future where Toyota, Hyundai, Ford, the list goes on and on. These brands adopt electric vehicles and can do it at a cheaper cost than Tesla. You could also see Tesla emerge as a brand itself, which I think is a more riskier idea than other companies adopting the electric car. You could also see Tesla be a battery producer, which I think is the most realistic thing we'll see happen with Tesla, because they're so advanced in their battery production that they can sell all these batteries to the car companies that will need the batteries, right? They also have a ton of intellectual property in their driving data, which they could sell to companies so they could license their software. I sold Tesla. I bought around the $180 mark, and I sold around the $240 mark. And I'm very worried about the upcoming recession. And I said to myself, I might as well just lock in my gains and get ready with my cash for this upcoming recession. So let's continue with our deep dive into Tesla. What has me concerned about their short-term growth is that during a recession, people tend to spend less money. Tesla itself is in a growth stage as a company. They're a startup, and so they have lots and lots and lots of growth to happen, right? People are buying more and more Teslas every day, which is great. But throw a recession into that mix, what will happen? Since they are in their startup phase, they do have a potential to grow their sales. Their sales aren't very, what I'm trying to say is their sales aren't very large, right? So they have a huge upside to grow them. But during a recession, when people are pinched for cash, you may see people decide to go for the gas car over the next, say, 2 years when the money is locked up. So overall, my opinion is that Tesla is good long-term. It's good long-term. If you want to hold Tesla through the storm, be my guest. But there's going to be a storm coming. There's going to be a storm. Now, if you're like me and you want to capitalize on that storm, I sold. My advice is just my opinion, right? So you don't have to take it. I'm just trying to give you more information as much as you can. Maybe watch a few other videos and get some different opinions on this. But you can hold through the storm. I'm sure you'll make money over the long run. Let's say in the next 5 years, you'll see a positive return. But they're going to take a hit, I believe. I could see them going down to about 150 before they start to run back up. That's my overall prediction. Short term, Tesla will fall with the recession, and long term, they will have huge upside. I'll be looking for Tesla in the recession. I'll be looking for those low prices. I'll be looking to buy. If you like the video, please like, share, subscribe. I'm new to this. I like the content. If you have any, advice for me, please put it in the comments. Thanks.